diversity and inclusion. What advice would you give to board members when coming to, what would you do to as a board member to ensure diversity and inclusion in your talent acquisition process is embedded, and that the benefits are visible, and that it's just not another word that everybody likes to have on their agenda as diversity, you know, DEI, what is it now? DEI, exactly. So please speak to us about D&I and what it is that the board members in the room and online should do to ensure that it's high on their agendas. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, it's, thank you very much, Rachel. And the tone is always set at the top. So the boards themselves, we are seeing increasingly, and if not, should have on their agenda, the diversity within the board itself. To be able to have a candid discussion that can be cascaded within the teams, that's the requirement really. We still have, I do not have the statistic, but from looking at the boards where I've been, the average age is not anywhere near the average age indeed of the nation. And indeed, in one particular discussion in a forum like this, the argument was there is value in getting experience which comes over age, which is represented in a board. But the numbers don't lie, and increasingly the discussion of including more youth, for instance, if that's the example we take, is not leaving the table. And when I speak particularly for one of the boards I sit in, it has started from within the governance framework, basically, speaking to diversity, not just from gender perspective, because that was always well written out, but looking at other areas. So it's coming in form of age, it's coming in form of expertise, where you find that we do not all lean too much on the chief value officers that are coming from the finance side of things, but also seek the more creative, more, because agility requires more creativity, which has not been seen. So when this then can be seen at the top, at the board, there is a chance to cascade it. And is there fruit to be seen? I have some specific examples from my work days, and way back in time, we used to focus a lot when we're recruiting people coming in from university. We used to look at first class, and we really felt at the bank, first class, they have the first slot and we're looking for them. First class would never last. It was very rare that they would go for a year. So you were always getting in these very brilliant people, but they had very brilliant plans as well. And you could not, you could not sustain them in the rigor and the nature of the work in a bank when you're starting out, or when you're there anyway. I can see many bankers in the room. So we learned pretty fast that you needed a mix. You needed a mix, and fewer of the first class, because clearly the numbers were showing they don't stay. But what was coming in strongly was the more maybe diploma holders, or coming in from a profession. You could have this young person went into ACCA and is coming out and finishing their ACCA, good work ethic, good understanding, good appreciation of why I need to go through these roles. So it was very clear that the balance was always key. Another example was male versus female, still working from those days. My experience was like we felt the female gender was more inclined to be more ethical, more integrity. Less money was getting lost on their watch, so to speak. This is a statistic, really, that we were watching and putting it to work. So you pile up, you know, you say, in this field, we really need the girls. We need to get the girls in. But then on the other hand, there's always a need for the balance, because then something comes back at a certain age, and they are all that age when you recruited them. So you have a team of 10, and all the 9 have to go for maternity leave. So you always needed the balance, because you get the best value out of diversity. And it was showing, and I mentioned the example of regional diversity as well. So you have all these branches everywhere, so you have to be intentional in your recruiting, but it starts from the top. And when you have at the top someone who is representative of a certain group, then they can speak for them and they can give insights that you may have missed. You know, let's say you are all female, have an example of a board of all female because it was an all female institution. So they sat in their meeting one day, and I'm part of them, and said, you know what? We actually need a male in this room. Because sometimes we get off and discuss at length and get off, like how women can be chatty. So I think in all things, even if it's a female institution, diversity demands that you get the side of what do the males feel about this particular emancipation program?
Yes.
And how will they support us as ladies? So are they represented in the room when we are talking about this women emancipation? So we had to get in some gentlemen. Thank you.